my people, how you doing? I hope you're having a goddamn great day. Now, I will be saying this from the get-go, I am redoing this video. I had it done, I had it chalked up and ready for this past Wednesday, and yeah, you know, it got deleted in the process. And I was absolutely heartbroken, but we're here, we're back again with the Rangers tactics under the likes of Philippe Clement. I think that's how he pronounces his surname. But yes, of course, a 4-2-3-1 system, a very effective vertical passing, proactive attacking type system, looking to get the runners in behind, looking to try and exploit the space, looking also to try and compact centrally and making it very hard for the opposition to play through. I find this as a very effective system, so stay tuned for the rating at the end, as well as if you guys can, please hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and of course, hit the bell notifications. Anyways, let's hop on straight into our first bit of the video. So, taking a look at the formation, it is going to be a 4-2-3-1 wide. They have mainly used this formation throughout the course of the Philippe Clement's time at Rangers, and it's served them very, very well, I will say that. I've made no major structural changes to the formation at hand, so therefore it will be 1 goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs, 2 full-backs, 2 DMs, 2 attacking midfielders, 2 wider midfielders, and then of course your 1 striker. Onto the tactics. Now, the tactical vision that I've set is kick and rush, and I have been, somehow, somewhere, it hasn't been planned out, but I have been using kick and rush a fair amount over the last week or so with the tactics videos that have come out. But I do think that this best suits what Rangers and Clement are trying to produce on a game-to-game basis, looking for those balls in behind, looking for the forwards and the wider midfielders to potentially break in behind, exploiting and penetrating the space that the opposition tend to leave in behind their back line. Of course, with this with this tactical vision set in play, you don't necessarily always have to go with that long ball over the top. You can look to build out very effectively from back to front, but it is always a good option to potentially have your forwards looking to break in behind, and they can be quite lethal on the break as well. As for the defense and the defensive style, it's set to pressure on heavy touch, looking to try and compact, keep the structure, and if there is a mistake or, you know, a bad pass or a missed pass, for example, the team will look to cohesively move into that space, win the ball back, and potentially look to counter-attack and create an offensive movement further up the field. In terms of the team width, I've set it to 60. You will quite frequently notice it will be a man-v-man type situation throughout the whole entirety of this team versus the other side, looking to match up very effectively with their players, the opposition players. Of course, you are looking to try and maintain the shape and the structure, making it very hard to break down. But one area that, you know, you can maybe express yourselves with a little bit more going forward can be the depth. Set to 65 offers the best of both worlds. I always like to say this, but with a 65 depth you do have the advantages of a high line, but also the advantages of a potential mid-block at times, looking to try and protect and cover your backline with any potential through balls or counter-attacking opportunities that the opposition will try and launch at them. Progressing on to the offense, the build-up play is set to long ball and the chance creation is set to direct passing. Of course, this does go hand in hand with the kick and rush tactical vision that you have set. But most importantly, you don't always have to play this, like I've mentioned earlier. You can, you know, effectively build out from back to front, create those little triangle passages of play, but when you are doing so, the forwards that you have in your team, they will naturally look to try and break in behind. So even with that quick 5-yard passing and movement and rotation potentially, you will always have options further forward for a potential ball over the top. As for the likes of the width, I have set it to 80. They do tend to work the ball into those wider sections, whether it's with the fullbacks whipping in crosses or early crosses, or potentially the wingers looking to attack from those wider areas. They do tend to do this very effectively from those wider channels of the field. As for the players in the box, they do tend to whip in quite a few crosses, so you want to try and, you know, give them as many targets to try and hit, especially if you are looking to attack the opposition. So I've set it to 8, allowing for at least 4 players in and around that attacking area. Of course, you do have a few players around the box looking to potentially rotate the play, look to maybe work it into those wider channels, and then obviously looking to whip in a cross or a potential cutback. As for the corners and the free kicks, as for always, it is set to 4. Okay, so taking a look at the instructions, starting off at the back with Jack Butland. I've set him to his base set of instructions. I don't think, you know, he's overly great at claiming those aerial balls. He can be caught out every now and then, but but I do think he does read the game fairly well. So sometimes he can look to try and stay on his line, leave the ball to the defenders to try and deal with, or potentially come off of his line and be a bit more aggressive and assertive on the game and look to claim it and alleviate the stress and the pressure on them. In terms of the saving outside of the box, you are playing a mid block. I know it is a higher mid block, but Butland has never been one to, explore the outside regions of the keeper's box. So he's not going to necessarily always make that run outside, and more so he does take up the role of a bit more of a traditional based goalkeeper. As for the likes of Sutar and Goldson, both of them are set to the base set of instructions, no major requirements or changes needed for either or. In terms of Yilmaz as well as Tavernier, both of them have the same set of instructions. Both are very intrinsic in the build-up play going forward, the attacking outlet as well down either flank. They will obviously look to try and provide a lot of the width down either side of the field. So in order to try and replicate their roles very effectively, they'll both be set to join the attack and overlap. And of course, the defensive position will be set to stick to position. You want to try and work them into those wide areas and whip in crosses and supply the forwards and the players in the box with a potential goal-scoring opportunity. As you'll see here for the captain Tavernier, he is set to join the attack, overlap, and of course stick to position. Into your midfield double pivot, of course, you've got Lundstrom and Raskin. Of course, it can be Ryan Jack as well. I would assume that Ryan Jack would take up the bit more of the box-to-box type DM position, so more or less subbing in for Raskin, but I wouldn't make any other changes from that. But we'll start off with Lundstrom in terms of what you would expect from him. Both will be set to tight mark, looking to pick up the runners and the players on the edge of the area, making sure that they don't have time or space on the ball to create in a positive manner in terms of the offensive outlet for the opposition. As for the attacking runs, for the likes of Lundstrom, we do see a very staggered approach with this double pivot. One will get forward, the other one will not. But I've selected Lundstrom to consistently stay back, with the likes of Raskin consistently looking to get forward when required. In terms of the interceptions for Lundstrom, you want him to have a bit more of a calmer head, a good positional awareness to him. You don't really expect him or require him to chase all over the field. More so, normal interceptions is a must. And then finally, for the positioning freedom, it is set to stick to position and then, of course, cover the center for the defensive position. As for the likes of Raskin's, a few tweaks and changes to it. Mainly being that attacking support is set to balance, allowing him to, yes, drop deep, help with the build-up play if required, or potentially break forward, break into the box every now and then, and look to land on those crosses, and also look to try and support the attacking outlets. The interceptions is set to aggressive. You want him to have a bit more bite higher up the field, looking to potentially turn the ball over, and this does help with a potential counter press or trying to latch onto a potential mistake that the opposition have made. As for the positioning freedom as well as the defensive position, just like with Lundstrom, he is set to cover the center and of course stick to position. Okay, so moving higher up the field now into your attacking midfielder, he is set to having a basic defensive support. Every now and then we do see Cantwell having this nice free roaming type approach where he does look to drop a bit deeper, link up very effectively, get on the ball early and look to drive at the opposition, either looking to create in transition or potentially pull players out of position. As for the support on crosses, we do see the number 10 in this side, whether it's Cantwell or anybody else really, they do look to try and break into the box as much as possible. You want to see Cantwell popping up in little half spaces in those channels, looking to either pull players out of position or potentially looking to create more offensive outlets from those more unnatural positions on the field. As for the interceptions, it's set to aggressive, looking to try and force those turnovers out of the opposition's back line. Onto your two wider midfielders. Now we've got Seema as well as McCausland, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Both are set to the exact same instructions. Both have a basic defensive support, obviously looking to sometimes drop a bit deeper with the marauding fullbacks bombing on forward. You want to every now and then have some support for those wider channels, but as well as them dropping a bit deeper, they can also look to sometimes stay forward, be a bit more of a counter-attacking break type side. The cut inside as well as the getting behind, it is a natural element to go alongside the kick and rush approach. You want them to consistently be looking to break in behind using their pace down either flank and also looking to arc the runs into the more central areas of the field, obviously looking to position themselves for potential goal scoring opportunity. In terms of the interceptions, it's set to aggressive, looking to try and, squeeze the opposition in the more central areas, looking to force them more centrally, where it essentially will play into the hands of the likes of Lundstrom and Raskins, who will obviously look to try and win the ball back. The support on crosses is set to balance. Every now and then, you want them in the box, but at the same time, if there's too much, too many bodies in and around that area, they can look to hang outside and look to potentially create something for the others. As you'll see here for the left midfielder, he is set to the same set of instructions. There's no major changes to him whatsoever. Okay, so onto the likes of Dessers. Now, it was quite hard to try and find an adequate, set of instructions that replicate his role, because In some games he was more central, in other games he was allowed to drift, so I've gone with a more balanced approach for his attacking outlets. So for the support runs, it's set to a balanced width, allowing him to, yes, drift along the backline if needed, picking up the little pockets of space, looking to exploit them, or potentially looking to stay a bit more central in certain moments, and obviously attack those central areas of the box. The attacking runs is set to mix. He does use a very good dynamic approach to how he plays, you know, for the likes of Rangers, whether it's breaking in behind using his pace, or potentially backing into the opposition, linking up play very effectively with Cantwell, and trying to facilitate and create for others in and around him. The interceptions is set to aggressive. Now this does help with the potential of your team forcing turnovers and mistakes from the opposition. Of course, you want your number 10 as well as your number 9 to try and press the backline as well as the goalkeeper. And then finally, the defensive support is set to basic, sometimes allowing him to drop a bit deeper, allowing for Cantwell to make those overlapping runs every now and then, or potentially he can also look to stay high up the field and be an outlet for a potential counter. So if you do make rotations to the side and the likes of Fabio Silva does come in, of course he can either be deployed as that secondary striker or potentially up front as the main number 9, but I've got him here for now. He does tend to tweak the system at hand with a few alterations to the instructions of that number 10 position. Starting off with the defensive support, you want him to stay forward, being a very good outlet for a potential break. He is quite pacey, can look to exploit the spaces very effectively, and essentially the link-up play with Dessers playing just off of the shoulder of him can be very effective for your side. In terms of the support on crosses, again, you still want him to be able to break into that attacking area, getting into the box, landing on the potential end of a cross or a cutback, and looking to obviously be a goal-scoring threat. The positioning freedom is set to stick to position. You don't really require him popping up a little in the little half spaces looking to try and create. He's going to be a secondary striker. You want him sticking to his position, playing off of the shoulder of the backline as well as the main number 9, and looking to get into those goal-scoring opportunities and areas, essentially. And then finally, the interceptions, just like with the natural number 10 position, you want him to be very aggressive, looking to try and close down the opposition's backline as well as their goalkeeper. So there you have it, guys. That is how I would replicate Rangers' 4-2-3-1 system that has essentially gained them so much momentum and success so far this season with the new man coming in. Of course, Michael Beale was fired and they went and hired the likes of Philippe Clement. So I think it's a very effective system. Out of 10, I would give this a very good, very high, solid rating of 8. It can be very good. I think it can sometimes be a bit one-dimensional. If the runs aren't there, you'll see the players forcing it, and I don't particularly like that much. But in terms of the defensive outlets, the ability for those runs to always potentially be there, it's very great and very solid, to be honest. I would honestly recommend this if you are new to the game and you are looking for just some really good solid instructions to start off your FC24 career. But yes, you guys can let me know what you would rate the system out of. Of course, whilst you're there and leaving comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course, until the next time, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm out.